Well, listen, hopefully we're going to have a great night on Saturday night.
Yeah,
I haven't changed my view as to who I think is going to win this. And from the minute it was announced, I was Team Usyk. And I think it's him head and shoulders above Tyson Fury. I just can't see any way back for Tyson Fury. I think the difference in the boxers is absolutely huge. More importantly, how do you see the fight going? Who's your favourite?
Well, first of all, what's great about it is it's a great match. And everybody's divided. Not everybody. People are divided on who's going to win. And everybody has an argument. And every argument is, has strength. Like your argument about managers and so on, right? So to me, it's a good fight. I believe Fury's going to win because I want Fury to win. But also, if a good big one will always beat a good small one. And that's a fact in boxing. And it's true. And has been true in time.
Mike Tyson?
Mike Tyson what?
Well, he was a good small one, wasn't he?
Well, he did lose to a good big one.
Yeah,
didn't
he? But they all lose, right?
Well, everybody can be beaten. Fury has made a serious sacrifice. He's been away for 3 months. He's cut himself off his family, which for a guy who's a very family orientated and loves his family and loves his kids and his wife, for him to do that, he means business. I mean, he's 6'9", and he is a freak in the fact that for a man 6'9", he is so agile and so athletic. It's not natural for a man that big to be as athletic as he is. So someone that big and that talented, if they're on form, it's going to be very, very hard to beat him. And I believe that Tyson will win. And I think everybody would like Tyson to win, probably Usyk as well, because they're already talking about a third fight, which will be a major payday. So my money's on Tyson.
Okay. Steve, how difficult is it to go back into a rematch straight away? Now, you did it with Chris Eubank, and then you did it with Nigel Benn. How difficult is it when you've not had that fight in between and you're just jumping straight back in with the opponent where in your case you beat them both?
Well, it's a risk, With the Eubank fight, the rematch was he whinged, and I said, you know what? I said, you are a great champion. I'll give you the benefit of the doubt, and I'll give you an instant rematch. He decided to take a couple of easy fights, fatten up his bank account before he took the rematch with me. So I waited for him because he deserved it. The same with Nigel Benn. If I was less confident in myself, I would have took a couple of smaller fights with paydays in case I lost a rematch. So it is hard for a rematch because they're both wondering what the other guy is going to show new and what's he going to bring to the table he didn't bring before. I don't believe Tyson was 100% in the first fight. So I think we will see an improved Tyson Fury. Oleksandr, Usyk, we've seen him at his best, and he was at his best when he beat Fury in the last fight. I think we'll see a better Fury, and a better Fury, will win.
Going back to what you were saying about Tyson Fury's not spoken to his wife and his kids for 3 months. Just tell me the process, the thought process behind that. Why would that help your preparation?
I don't know. I actually don't know. Well, maybe it's what he wants. He understands his mind, and he's got a mindset. And he probably realised if he doesn't do this right, he can't put the clock back. He won't get, he's getting a second chance. He won't get a third chance. So he realised he has to make the ultimate sacrifice. And for a man of his personality to do that, I actually think he's really taking it seriously. And you have to, respect him for that and take him serious for doing that.
Can I ask, did you know the first time you got into a ring with someone you haven't fought before, within the first 20 seconds or minute or round, that you were going to win or lose? I
always believed getting in before the fight I was going to win. And I studied my opponents, and I didn't, unless something out of the blue, they produced on the night I never seen before, I always came prepared and was prepared. I think Fury, we're going to see. This is what we're hearing, what we're seeing, what I'm reading and hearing and watching reports and that. And if it's true, and Fury is as good and prepared as he says he is, I can't see him get beat. He's such a big man who's so talented and physically and mentally. If he's prepared, how is he going to lose?
I always wonder this then, Steve, because you're right. He just looks to me like he's got a different demeanour about him, like he really feels he can win this fight. It looks like he's giving it everything. He spoke about not speaking to his family for 3 months. Okay, say he gets beat again. Then mentally, where is he? Because when you give it everything and you still don't achieve what you want to achieve, then how is he going to be?
Well, I don't know how his mind works. If it was me, I'd say, well, you know what? I gave my best shot. I couldn't have done any more. he has won on the night. I'm not the best in the world. What's the point in being hanging around?
Yeah.
If you don't believe you're the best in the world, don't hang around. That'd be my answer. I don't know what makes, so he might, if he loses this time, he might say, oh, I'll hang around for more paydays. I don't know what makes him tick, so I really can't answer that. I don't know. We don't know what goes on in his mind. It's very interesting, the whole thing,
Would it not, I wouldn't say tarnish his legacy, because his legacy's, I think, set in stone. He's been champion of the world. But as you said there, for someone who's been as good as him, and you've just said it there for yourself, if you're not the best in the world, that's it. If he does hang around for paydays, and do you almost diminish what he's done a little bit?
Well, what if he's not at the best? What's the point in hanging around? You're only going to get hurt. He doesn't need the money. He's successful financially. He's got a young family, so maybe that's the reason why he probably wants to go to training camp for 3 months and you have the kids screaming at you.
Ego.
Sometimes people, the biggest problem with a lot of fighters, and I'm not too sure about footballers, is when they give up the game, it's consumed them physically and mentally for so many years that when it's over, they kind of walk out into the world and they don't know what to do with themselves. They haven't got something to focus and to commit themselves to after the boxing, to kind of step down into normality. And a lot of guys lose the plot a bit, So if Tyson Fury hasn't got boxing, I think that's when his real fight and challenge will begin in life, because it's consumed him and it's given him everything to go for since day one. After boxing, that's when I'd worry about him. What's he going to do? Unless, of course, he might build his own boxing gym and channel all his and pass on his knowledge and experience and bring on kids, and something like that could work for him. I don't know. So we just we'll be all watching to see what happens.
We will. Listen, we'll carry on our chat in boxing in a broader sense in just a moment. But that was a look ahead to UsykFury 2. Thanks to our friends at DAZN. But let's continue our chat now with Steve Collins. Steve, listen. I don't know if you're aware of this, but earlier on, Usyk against Fury, they broke a record for the longest ever face-off. Are you aware of this?
No.
Have a guess how long you think it was. The longest ever. So if people don't know what it is, it's like usually at a weigh-in, but two boxers come face to face. There's like, maybe the gap of a newspaper between the two. They're staring. It's a new world record. How long?
Minute and a half.
Benji, what's your guess?
I would have gone to see. I would have said, but I'm going to go now. 2 minutes 30 seconds.
11 minutes.
11 minutes.
Oh, wow.
A bit pointless, isn't it? What with the face-off? What's your views on that? Did you mind them? Could you find something out about your opponent?
Yeah. Well, when I had a face-off, I always had something to say. I wanted to implant something into their mind, like a doubt, and the best way to do that is to tell them the truth.
What do you mean? What, in the face-off?
Yeah.
What would you say?
I'd say something like, that when you get hit, you'll go down because your chin's not great. And that's the truth. The guy will he can't deny that. And you've told him that, and that straight away is a reality. It puts doubt in their mind. They go, yeah, well, that is true. If he does hit, if I'm going to he'll go. And that's it. All this talk and pushing and shouting, we're going to just say something that's true, and just implant it. But don't make it up. It has to be fact. If it's not fact, it's a waste of time. So I always had a fact to pass on to my opponents.
The mental side of boxing was always something you use quite a lot, right? So, with that little line you've just said in the face-off, but also famously we remember you with the headphones and Chris Eubanks. Was that brought to you by anyone, or was that just something you were fascinated with?
No, I watched Eubank when I knew I was going to fight him at some stage, and I studied him and I watched him, and I watched one of his entrance to one of his belts in London, and he fought a South American opponent, and this guy entered the ring, got booed and slagged off everybody because he was the opponent, and he's sitting in his corner. I think he was an Argentinian guy. I think he was sitting in his corner, and whilst he's sitting there, there's giant screens around the ring, and the giant screens are showing Chris Eubanks' knockouts, 10 previous knockouts. So this guy's sitting there watching this giant screen with Eubank like an absolute giant, hitting guys, and the sound effects, boom, and there's guys falling over, bang, there's guys falling this way and that way, and he's sitting there looking at that. And then Chris Eubanks' entrance began, which to me is the greatest entrance, I think, in boxing. The whole Simply the Best, and the whole place is uplifted, and they're all singing and dancing and cheering. And as I even watched this cornerman dancing and moving to Simply the Best. And I thought to myself, this guy now realises this is not his show. Yeah. This is the Chris Eubanks show. He's a bit part in it. And I thought that's mind games. And I said, I got to take that away from him. The way to take it away from him was to ignore him coming into the ring. And I already planted a seed in him that I was going to be hypnotised and all the stuff that scared him, I told him was going to happen. So when he entered the ring, they kind of have the final say. His entrance would take away the psychological edge. When he got to the ring, he realised that I'd been asleep. I hadn't even seen him enter. And that took away in his mind, his psychological advantage. And he realised, he was still worried about me.
What, so your eyes were closed?
I had a hood up and I had my eyes closed, listening to my Walkman, yeah.
Wow, what was you listening to?
Simply the Best.
No. the theme to the Rocky music, gonna fly now.
Wow.
Yeah. So I had Rocky music in my ears, and it was like a movie. And here I am there, and my eyes are closed, and and I could sense it. And I felt the ropes move. I said, he's here. Rope sprung. I felt the vibration on the canvas. He's in the ring. Keep it together, keep it together. Don't, stay doing what you're doing. And then I get up out of the ring and I let on. I was in a trance, and I walked straight to the centre of the ring, right up to his face. And if you watch it, you'll see his coach, which I never saw before, step between us. Instead of having his hand behind his fight, holding his fighter's shoulder, he stood between us and put his arm up to block me, because I think he thought I was going to hit him before the fight started. So I even had him scared, had them all scared, and it was great. Wow. Everything was great, and I thought, this is great. It's like a movie. And then the bell rang, and he hit me, bang, and I went,
don't say it.
I went, right, this is real. But I prepared enough. I was okay.
That era of boxing, of course, was incredible. Because it wasn't just you, but there was a period of you and Michael Watson, of course, and Chris Eubank and Nigel Benn, and now we're looking like we might see the two sons, Conor Benn and Chris Eubank Jr. fight. It looks like that fight is edging ever closer. Would you like to see that? Is that something?
I'd like to see the fight. There's a physical difference in size, which to me is a bit of a disadvantage, I think, to Conor Benn. But it's going to be a great fight because they're two hungry fighters. I think it's a good match, and I honestly don't know who's going to win. Oh, by the way, Prince Nazim's son is fighting as well.
Yeah,
so
we've had him in the studio. Yeah.
So yeah, it's a good match. I want to see it, and it's interesting. And I'm just curious to know will the dads be there, and will they kick off, and we'll probably watch them on YouTube getting $10 million to fight each other again.
Do you get on with the two dads? And if you do you get on with one better than the other?
Oh, I like them both. I've spoken to Nigel. I've done tours with Nigel. I actually get on really well with Nigel. We have a lot in common. I see Chris the odd time. He came to my documentary, which he was part of, and he supported it, which I thought, thank you. That was nice. So yeah, they're all right. I don't see them very often, so when you've won, though, it's easy to get on.
Yeah.
Steve,
I don't mean that in a bad way, but
of course.
Fact,
Steve, I'm guessing it wasn't easy for you to come into the studio after your enjoyable night last night, shall we say, but I appreciate we all do here at talkSPORT. Thank you so much for your time. It's always a pleasure and an honour to have you in the studio.
Thank you for having me, and I want to wish all the listeners a happy Christmas and a prosperous New Year.
That's nice of you to do that.
Thank you.
We'll get you again in the new year. We'll have a proper chat.
Yeah.
Maybe one where you...
It wasn't proper tonight, no.
You've not had Big Wednesday before. It's always proper with you, and I'm glad, by the way, I'm glad you sided with me in that argument.
Well, okay. I might be just setting you up like I did my opponents, giving you a false sense of
there you go.
security, just, getting ready for the...
Simply the best.
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.